Gerald, you are with us. You're in North Carolina. When we're talking about racial justice, Gerald, what do you think people in this room really need to understand, especially when you can look at this with a historical perspective? I think a lot of times history gets erased and we sometimes reinvent the wheel, or we think some of the incidents we're talking about happened a long time ago, or we don't make the connection between the past and policies or lack of policies in the past and how it may play itself out today.
Well, August 2015 not only marks the 50th anniversary of the Watts Rebellion in Southern California of 1965, it also marks the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which, as you know, the Supreme Court has gutted only recently. One of the major lessons that I take away from a study of racial justice is that oftentimes it has been necessary for people involved in racial justice to have allies abroad. Therein, you see the connection between the domestic and the foreign, the internal and the external. Keep in mind that just as the civil rights movement, as traditionally understood, was stepping off in 1955, you also had the movement and the meeting in Bandung, Indonesia in 1955, where mostly colonized African and Asian nations came together in a precursor of what became the powerful non-aligned movement. In 1957, you had the coming to independence of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, and of course, he had studied in the United States and had invited numerous Black American exiles to reside there, from Maya Angelou to W.E.B. Du Bois. It's very striking to note that a few weeks after the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was signed and Watts endured its conflagration, that in Indonesia, where the Bandung meeting had taken place, you saw the veritable liquidation of forces and a right-wing brutal ambassador who happened to be Franklin Williams, a former NAACP official in California, being present on the scene. That also leads, of course, to a counter-revolution, a so-called white backlash and movement for equality, culminating with the election in November 1966 of Ronald Wilson Reagan as governor of California, which then catapults him into the pole position, become elected president of the United States in 1980, thereby initiating this current period that we still find ourselves immersed in, of a right-wing ascendancy that's now taken two houses of the Congress, controls the U.S. Supreme Court, and bids fair, if we are not careful, to reclaim the White House in November 2016. Therein, in that particular narrative that I've just laid out, you see the connection between racial justice and the internal-external situation. Going forward, we must be careful to monitor not only the internal correlation, of course, the global correlation, of course, if we're truly concerned about racial justice.